Okay, so I've done a little bit of setup while I'm not recording, just to sort of expedite some of this. And rather than having you watch me create it, I'll just show you what I've created so you can make something similar yourself if you would like. I have a peg for each of my objects here. I got a body peg. I have one for the stem where I'm having it drive both the stem line and the stem, so I'm able to move that entire thing around. I've also have one for these specs, and we'll be dealing with those here in just a second. If I move on over here, this section is all of the face, and you'll see I have an eyes peg for both of the eyes. One for each individual eye that is driving both the white eye shape and the pupil, and then one for the pupil individually if I need to make this look around. And of course I'll do some masking here in a bit, similar to how we did with Winslow. So if I go to the mouth is 3 pieces. I have the one peg that is driving the whole thing, and you'll see that each of these little corner cheek sections have their own peg as well. And then of course we got the legs and stuff over here as well, but let's not worry about those right now. I want to think about the head. So what I would like to do is actually have the ability to make it look like we're kind of turning the head. And you'll notice that just the way I have this rigged up right now, I'm already getting some of that. If I move this face peg, like that kind of has this feeling of looking left and looking right, except it's kind of flat, right? And so I want to try to see if I can fake a little bit of perspective on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start keying some things, and I know that sounds like a bad idea considering our rig isn't finished, but this is actually part of the rigging process. So I want to mainly be setting my keyframes on the pegs, and I know earlier I showed you that I can disable drawing layers by freezing them, but there's also another way we can do this. If you don't want to set keyframes on your drawings, you can actually highlight the drawings in the node view here, select them all, and then this little icon here, it's kind of hard to see, but it's little white boxes with check marks in it. If I select those, these are some properties we can have for these individual layers. So you could do something like if you wanted all of your pegs to be separate mode instead of 3D path mode, you can change that en masse. What we're actually going to do right here is where it says animate using animation tools. The animation tools are these, right? I'm just going to set that to off. And so that means even if I have one of these selected now, if I choose that right eye and hit F6 on that, it actually doesn't set a keyframe on the eye. It sets it on the peg above it, right? And so that's going to be really handy to be able to see all that. So I'm going to minimize the face and go all the way out here to the end of the face here. I mean, as long as we need this to be whatever, let's say it right there. And I'm just going to hit F5 to extend all my drawings. I don't know why the body peg was not part of that, so hit F5 on that as well. And really, I just want to have those exposures out there so I can see the drawings more later. And so we'll keep doing some more stuff on that. First thing I would like to do is kind of mask out some of the things that we're going to need a mask for, and that's going to be on the pair body. So like I'm going to use the specs as a good example, right? I don't need all of these specs outside of it. I just want them to be inside the shape of the object here, but I also don't want them on the line work. And so I can use the pair body. I've got my node library, and I'm going to get here this. I can't see what this says. I don't think that that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for color art, and I think that's something else. So I'm just going to type in COL, right? There it is. I'm looking for color art. And if I pull this color art into here, I can use the color art layer. And then I also need line art. And I'll pull the line art layer in here. And I'm actually going to unplug pair body from visibility. And what I'm really doing is I'm just separating those two out. Now I have my line art, and I can plug my line art in up here in front of, let's do it here. And so now we just see the line art, and I can also do the color art behind that. I have to have pair body plugged into it, right? And so now it gives us the same thing. I basically just split out those two channels and plugged them both back in. So with that change now, though, I can put the line art above the specs. Right? So these specs can go in between the line art and the color art. Right? So now it covers them up. And I can use my color art as a mask on the specs. Right? Now this is kind of handy because I can also use that as a mask on the eyes as well. So I could take this color art and put these over on left eye. Yeah, I believe that's right eye there. Yeah. And what that means now is if my eyes go outside of this, it will trim them off. So with that being said, I have these masked now with the eyes, and so the eyes can move around. We'll worry about the pupils later. What I would like to do now is think about how this looks if I slide my character if I slide this peg now from side to side. And so now that's looking a little bit more like my character's head is turning, right? Because I'm getting not only the eyes moving, I'm also getting the mouth moving, and I'm getting the specs moving, and it kind of looks like the character moving from side to side. I don't like what the stem is doing, so I'll probably move it in a different way. In fact, I may just to make this work a little bit better, I may just disconnect the stem from that. That way I can move it independently. And so now you'll see that that kind of has this look of the character turning their head from side to side. So minimizing all of this to the face and the stem, I'm going to set a few keyframes on here, and I'm going to do it kind of out of order. So I'm going to start with frame 2, and on the face, I'm going to hit F6. And so that should have set a keyframe on everything underneath here. Now I'm going to go back to frame 1 and hit it and minimize it again, set another keyframe, F6. I'm going to do that on both of these as well. So I need keyframes on all 3 of those, right? And what this is going to be is frame 1 is going to be my character looking it'll be their right to screen left. Right? So let's say this. Frame 2 is going to be them in the middle. Frame 3 is going to be them looking off to the side here. And my stem animation isn't really changing very much, so let's go ahead and add some animation to that as well. So we'll have it like over here and maybe rotated just a little bit. And then by the time it's over here, maybe it's rotated a little bit in the other direction. Actually, maybe not. Does it look like that? Yeah, actually I think it makes more sense to have it rotated forward. And so now this looks like it's kind of got that feeling of it moving. Maybe move this up just a touch. On these 2 outside ones, or probably the better move would be move it down just a touch in the center. And so now I have these 3 drawings that kind of look like the character's head is turning. And if I look at this, it kind of looks like the character's head's turning from side to side. Now, if I were to spread these apart, we would get those in-betweens. Right? And we see, and now that's got a little bit of that look to it. I'm going to undo that because just looking at that, I see that stem is dipping in the middle, but the rest of the face isn't. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the rest of the face in the middle just a touch too. Ooh, wrong thing. Let's grab face, move that down just a little bit, right? And so now it kind of feels like it's going around the object, but still not perfect, because if we look here, there's some perspective, there's some telltale signs that the perspective isn't right. So like the eyes are still kind of looking straight ahead at us, and so is the mouth. And so I'm going to make some changes to this pose. Let's go to the mouth pose, right? And I'm going to sort of rotate the mouth first. And I think that'll probably be the easiest way to do that. I guess I could also, maybe skewing it would also work, but right now let's just rotate it. I'm going to move this over just a little bit. And I'm going to try something. I'm going to scale this in a little bit to make it more narrow looking, right? So let's look and see what that looks like. So even though it gets a little less narrow, implying some perspective, right? And one of the other things I can do to imply that perspective would be to make this corner of the mouth a little smaller, right? And so now, let's see if I can click off that. It's like that corner is kind of going away from us a little bit, right? And so I can do the same thing over here when we turn to this side. I can grab the mouth, rotate it just a little bit, scale it just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and move it further around here. Right? And again, with cheek R, I'm going to scale it up just a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. Oh, I'm sorry, other way around. Cheek L, I will scale that down. I want that to be a little bit smaller. Right? And so again, if we watch that, now that mouth looks like it's got a little bit more perspective on it. Right? Last thing I would do is for the eyes, right? So right now, when we're looking straight ahead at the eyes, the distance between them is pretty wide, right? And when I turn to the side, though, this eye should be closer, and this eye should be a little smaller, right? So let's play around with that. If I take my left eye, I'll maybe move it just a little bit more in this direction, and my right eye, I'll maybe scale it. Why can't I scale it? Where's I'm not sure why that scale tool is so big. It makes me think that maybe there's a little errant line that I've drawn somewhere off to one side, right? I can make that a little bit smaller, maybe move it up just a little bit, make this eye a little closer, and I'm just going to take both of them individually and kind of rotate them just a touch toward this direction. And so now, looking at that, getting a little bit more perspective on that, and I would want to do the same thing over here, right? So again, move my left eye. What did I do again? Let's see. I think I raised it up just a little bit, made it a little bit smaller. Move this one a little closer, and then I rotated both of them just a little bit. I'm probably not going to have these two overlap just to give myself a little bit of breathing room there, because I don't want to have to worry about masking them between each other, right? But now, hopefully, that feels a little bit more like our character is rotating their head in 3D space, right? Now, I've gone through all of that, and the reason I have is I'm now going to set up a rig that will allow me to manually drive that. We'll do that in the next video.